Glad you're here. Welcome to Models and Agents, episode 41 on May 6, 2026. Let's see what shipped. Let's see what happened in the AI world today. And trust me, it's been busy. OpenAI rolls out GPT-5.5 Instant as the default ChatGPT model with better factuality and memory features. Here's what you need to know at a glance. OpenAI is pushing GPT 5.5 Instant to every ChatGPT user over the next 2 days. The same model is available in the API under the name GPT 5.5 Chat Latest. Anthropic published research on model spec mid-training that improves safety generalization in agentic settings. Google released MTP drafters that deliver up to 3 times faster Gemma 4 inference without quality loss. A detailed community benchmark explores practical quantization trade-off for Twen 3.627b. OpenAI is rolling out GPT 5.5 Instant as the default model for all ChatGPT users over the next 2 days. The same lighter variant is available in the API as GPT 5.5 Chat Latest. It brings measurable gains in factuality. Those gains show up especially in medicine, law, and finance. Image analysis improves as well. So does STEM question answering. The model also gets better at knowing when to trigger web search. Improved memory pulls context from saved memories, past chats, files, and connected Gmail accounts. Visible memory sources let users inspect, edit, or disconnect what the model used. Simon Willison noted the model is less capable than the full GPT 5.5. This appears to be a deliberate cost-saving choice. Sam Altman described the combined speed, intelligence, personality, and memory upgrades as feeling more than the sum of the parts. Developers should test the new default immediately in both consumer ChatGPT and the API. See where the capability and speed trade-off lands for your workloads. Watch for further rollout of personalization features to mobile. Community feedback might prompt OpenAI to adjust the instant variant. Anthropic released research on model spec mid-training. The technique inserts a mid-training phase using a detailed model spec or constitution before standard alignment. It teaches models broad underlying values rather than narrow rules. That improves generalization to agentic settings. Chat-only harmlessness training often fails in those settings. A toy example shows that training on cheese preferences tied to pro-America values causes the model to adopt broader pro-America stances. Swapping the spec to affordability produces different value generalization instead. The full paper is available on Archive. Google AI open-sourced multi-token prediction drafters. These use speculative decoding to deliver up to 3 times faster inference on the Gemma 4 family. Output quality stays the same. The drafters generate multiple tokens in parallel and verify them with the target model. This cuts latency without the usual quality penalties seen in aggressive speculative methods. Developers running Gemma 4 workloads can integrate the new drafters immediately. They work especially well for throughput-sensitive applications. A detailed local LLAM test compared quantization levels for Twen 3.627b. The levels included BF16, Q8, 0, Q6K, Q5KXL, Q4KXL, IQ4XS, and lower quants. Tests used a chessboard state tracking task and an SVG rendering task. IQ4XS emerged as the practical sweet spot on 16 GB VRAM hardware. It retains correct piece placement, board orientation, and move highlighting. Speeds stay usable, especially with TurboQuant KV cache tweaks. Anything below IQ4XS showed noticeable degradation in board orientation or piece positioning. Kaltura released open-source machine-readable AI skills. These target agent-first development workflows. The skills provide structured, parsable capability descriptions. Agents can discover and compose them without brittle prompt engineering. Developers building autonomous agents can pull the library today. It should improve tool selection and orchestration reliability. New research evaluates same model self-verification against strong likelihood baselines. The baselines include LLAVG and LLSUM. Tests ran on ARC Challenge and Truthful QAMC. The technique improves abstention quality for some model families. It helps notably with Chuen 7b. Results remain task and prompt sensitive. Sometimes it underperforms simple likelihood sums. Agent builders can use it as one signal among several. It is not a universal uncertainty estimator. A new Argiv paper demonstrates a geometric deviation for pre-generation reliability. It measures hidden state deviation from an answerable reference set. This gives a lightweight, pre-generation signal on whether a query is answerable. The approach works reliably on mathematical prompts. It reaches ROCAUC scores between 0.78 and 0.84. It shows little signal on factual prompts. Representation geometry encodes task form more than universal knowledge boundaries. The signal could help agents decide when to refuse or search before generating. Researchers built a benchmark of queries containing varying degrees of false presuppositions. The queries span health, science, and general knowledge. Reasoning models only modestly outperform non-reasoning ones. Accuracy gains sit between 2 and 11%. Models still fail to challenge 26 to 42% of false assumptions. Performance stays sensitive to how strongly the presupposition is worded. Anyone building agents that answer user questions should test against this style of input. Mechanistic interpretability work on Mistral 7b and Llama 3.18b examined negation processing. Models implement both suppressive attention and constructive mechanisms. Suppressive attention attends to the negated phrase and dampens related concept. Constructive mechanisms build a representation of the full negated concept. Ablating late layer attention shortcuts dramatically improves negation accuracy. Poor performance often stems from simple heuristics rather than missing capability. A new 3,582-page benchmark evaluates semi-structured information extraction from OCR clinical reports. It uses unknown keys and realistic noise. Encoder-only models surprisingly outperform much larger decoder-only models on key condition QA. Fine-tuned decoder-only models win on end-to-end extraction when scale is not controlled. This supplies a practical baseline for anyone working with medical document pipelines. Now let's pop the hood on how language models actually implement negation. Everyone talks about the model understands negation as if it were a single learned skill. In practice, models implement at least two competing mechanisms that coexist inside the same network. The first mechanism is suppressive. Specific attention heads learn to attend to the phrase being negated. They dampen related concepts downstream. The second mechanism is constructive. The model builds an explicit representation of the negated state. For example, turning not gas into a vector that promotes liquids and solids. Ablation studies show the constructive route is more prominent in the models examined. Yet both mechanisms are present. Late layer attention often overrides the correct internal representation with a simple shortcut. That produces the wrong answer. Removing those heads can raise negation accuracy dramatically, even though the knowledge was already there. The effect is strongest in mid-layers and fades toward the output. This explains why prompting tricks that force step-by-step reasoning sometimes help. The practical takeaway is that negation failures are frequently fixable with targeted interventions. You do not necessarily need more data or scale. Teams hitting negation bugs should first check whether late layer attention is the culprit before reaching for fine-tuning. Here are some things to try this week. Switch your default ChatGPT conversations to GPT-5.5 Instant. Test factuality on medical, legal, or financial prompts. See where the speed and accuracy trade-off feels acceptable. Pull the new Gemma 4 MTP drafters. Benchmark latency on your current workloads. The 3 times speed up without quality loss makes it worth testing even if you only use Gemma occasionally. Run the Trend 3.627 BIQ4X Quant on your 16 GB hardware. Use the chessboard-style state tracking prompt. Verify whether it meets your reliability needs before committing to production. Experiment with self-verification prompts on ARC challenge-style tasks. Use Chuan or Phi models to see if the conditional confidence signal improves your agent's abstention behavior. Read the full Anthropic MSM paper. Try writing a short model spec for a narrow domain. Test whether value level instructions generalize better than rule lists in your own fine-tunes. On the horizon, the full ArcSV paper and follow-up experiments on model spec mid-training are expected to clarify which constitution styles produce the strongest agentic safety gains. Further mobile rollout of ChatGPT memory sources and personalization features should land in the coming weeks. Additional quantization and speculative decoding results for the new Gemma 4 family will likely appear as the MTP drafters see wider adoption. More benchmarks testing reasoning models on presupposition-heavy queries are likely as the community adopts the new evaluation set. Before we go, tomorrow keep an eye on any fresh community benchmarks that test those MTP drafters on production workloads. That wraps up today's AI briefing. Share this with a developer or builder who wants to stay current. Subscribe wherever you listen. See you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.